From the beautiful campus of Casper College, it's the T-Birds Coaches Show, bringing you game breakdowns, expert analysis, and exclusive interviews. Here's your host, Tom Myler.
Well, hello, T-Bird fans, and welcome back to another great episode of our Coaches Show. Back with us again is Coach Angel Sharman. Always a pleasure. And, man, I tell you what, we got some good discussions I think we're going to be talking about today, because it was, I would not say it was a tough weekend. Lots of great competition, which, I mean, that's what we asked for, right? So let's get right into it, the good, the bad, and what can be improved upon.
Okay, let's do it.
So let's start with that first game. What against CSI? It was their first home opener. What did you see?
I thought the first two sets that we played against were back and forth. And so we lost 25-20, 25-20. And so then you look at the stats, and we just had a couple errors, just a little bit more than them. So it was only like two mistakes, a little bit more on both sets. And so I was like, okay, we're there. Our serving was a little rough. And again, that's what got them their points. But then we turned around into the third. I don't know if they thought, well, we lost the first two, so there's no reason. We came out totally different, had a lot more errors, and they really kind of stepped on the gas. So we just wanted to try to keep it consistent for the next three. If we went 3 or 5 or whatever, we just don't have that consistency yet.
Right. So you mentioned that not as many errors, which is good. So that's an
Correct.
improvement. What's kind of the shining moment saying, hey, we saw that spark, we can work with that?
Yeah, so I thought our passing was a lot better against CSI. We've been struggling a little bit with passing, but we were passing like a 2, so we were able to run our offense. And so our hitting errors went down. It was just our service errors that kept us out of winning the first 2. So, and then our hitting errors and our passing really went down in the third. And so, but I thought, we did a lot better passing-wise. So that's a positive.
Hey, and that's absolutely positive, because usually when we're talking, you're saying passing is usually the issue.
Yes.
So it's good to hear that that's greatly improved, and so that's going to be an opportunity to hopefully improve upon even more, because honestly, yeah, when you can actually run your offense, you can have an opportunity for getting points.
Absolutely.
And I mean, ultimately, not to be super blunt about it, that's how you're going to win.
Well, it is. I mean, volleyball is a serve and pass game. So if you can serve and you can pass, I mean, you're going to win. We did that last year, and we just have to try to incorporate. I mean, our kids are serving aggressive, don't get me wrong. And that's, we've told them from the start, we got to serve aggressive. That gets us into our defense. And so, but we just have to control our aggressive. We kind of get a little anxious, and then we serve it to the wall. So we're not even giving them a chance to play it. They know it's out. So if we can cut those errors down a little bit more, then we're in the right direction.
All right, so better look against CSI. The next day, that first game against Miami-Dade, I believe, are they number 1 or number 2 right now?
They're number 2.
Number 2. Super tough team. I mean, even talking to some other people that watched that game, it sounds like they've got like a 6'5", just beast of a lady that just smacks it straight down. So that's pretty tough to defend against.
She's a big girl. We played her last year. She was there last year, and she just moves really well, and for a big girl. And again, she covers a lot of space at the net. But at the same time, again, we blocked well, I thought, at times, and then there's times that we didn't. And again, they outjump us a little bit because they're taller than we are. We're big, but they're a lot bigger. And so, you can put a block up there, and then, they just hit the angles that we don't normally see. And so when you don't see those types of angles and hitting styles, it's a little rough to play a little defense. So I thought, our first 2, we were like, ooh, they're big. We were scared.
Right.
Got over it, understood that, hey, we can play with them. And so the third set, I thought we kind of played a little bit better. We got up to the 19. So I think that was just as good as anybody else that played them. So I don't think anybody else even got close to them as well. So they're good. So we just learned from it.
Well, then here's the big question. So I know they're good. Do you feel like your team made the other team beat you, or did you end up beating yourself a lot on these?
I think we still beat ourselves in a lot of the teams that we played this last weekend. I still think we beat ourselves. And again, but we still have, I think, a little bit of trust issues with our team.
Okay.
So I thought we did a lot better job against Slick because we talked about it a little bit.
Right.
But even Utah Eastern was phenomenal. They should raise up in the rankings. They're just really good, and we could play with them. It's just their pace of the game is really fast, and again, we don't see that in practice, and so trying to incorporate that in their style of play is huge, and we just shoot ourselves in the foot.
Yeah. So how can you address this? Because we brought it up a couple of times now. I mean, we have a young team, a lot of inexperience. How do you address this in practice or even during mid-game of the speed of the game to help improve you?
Yeah, so we actually have a coach actually playing with them a little bit this week and last week. So her pace is, she understands the pace, and so she hits a little bit harder. She understands the different types of hits, and so we have her in there trying to give them a better sight of seeing it early. So, and then we have a machine that we're trying to incorporate to the speed a little bit. So,
okay.
We had a good practice yesterday, I thought, even though we are sick, but. I thought we had a good practice yesterday with the energy, and so hopefully we can keep that going.
So what's the possibility of bringing in the men's basketball team and just kind of simulating the height at least? Hey, you stand there.
No, I mean the height is okay, but we need. If we're going to bring somebody in, I think we need somebody that's knows a little bit about volleyball, number one.
True.
And not just kind of going up there and swinging. We need somebody that actually knows the style and the actual form. Because again, I think they're going to swing. It's not going to be very tactical. So that's what we kind of really need to do.
Right, because I guess, you even mentioned before, you have to simulate what you're going to see. It can't just be, oh, well, at least he's tall, that person's tall, but they don't know where it needs to be.
Right.
Or the shot, you never know, even if just to stand there, not necessarily to swing, it'd be like, okay, hey, this is a tall person, I gotta get over the block, however it might be.
Blocking wise, we have different drills for that. That's not a problem, is the blocking. It's more of people hitting at us. We can be on boxes and simulate those, but it's not the full effect of seeing the ball set and then having them come in at different angles. So that's the thing that we're struggling with of seeing. Coach and I can be on a box, but we still hit hard, but it's not the full effect.
Right. Well, I mean, I guess that's why we do these tough games, right?
Sure.
Is, you see it in game, and that's kind of what I've been wondering too, is so in game, if you need to adjust, and I'm trying to figure out how I want to go with this question, but if you see something, how do you adjust to it mid-game?
It just depends. If we have a hitter that is pretty consistent on their swing, then we can adjust the block to adjust to her swing. We can move our defense into a different style because, again, there's different styles of defense that you can run. So if she's killing us in one spot, we can do a rotational defense. We can do a perimeter defense. So, again, we can just change that up a little bit.
Okay. And so you talked mostly about offense. Defense. Is there a way you've had to mid-game change your offense, saying, hey, they're really good at this spot, or their defender here is really good, we need to attack this person?
Yeah, so like Utah Eastern, they have two big blockers on the oppo and the middle. So our outside, they put their biggest blockers against outsides. And so we can tell our outside, hey, instead of running a go ball, and tell our setters, we got to run something quicker in the middle, run something in behind, do some cross plays, so they have to adjust and not be so committed to our outside blocker or hitter.
That's some great insights there to kind of see, hey, this is how you make adjustments. It really is a very mental game, I feel like, volleyball.
It is.
Yeah, you have to be athletic, but you also have to see, oh, this is what they're doing, we need to adjust.
Very much so, and you have to, and again, you have to practice that too, because we do watch film and we do run that through them. So again, it's a short amount of time that we have, but again, you got to be athletically to do it.
Very true. And that's why we've got all these now individual practices, team practices, obviously still weightlifting, which is great. So looking forward now, we've had a great conversation about this last weekend. We have another tournament down in Sterling, Colorado. We've got another 4 games before conference play, which we're super excited to get to, but let's obviously take it one thing at a time. What do we got looking at here? So we have Dodge, we've got Utah State Eastern again, we've got a bunch
New
of
Mexico Junior College, which we saw last year at the national tournament.
Right.
They're better than what they were, so they're ranked. I think the only one right now that's not ranked is Dodge. I know at Odessa we're playing them again. They're ranked, and then Eastern Utah is ranked, and they'll move up for sure. So again, it's a tough tournament, but you know, we're getting better every tournament. So again, hopefully we can still learn, and then you know, next week we have some home matches where they're just singles, and then we get into regional play. So hopefully we don't get defeated, because again, you know, we're playing such a tough schedule. It's just our kids, you know, hopefully they just don't, you know, think, oh, we're gonna go and lose again, you know, just because of that atmosphere that we're doing. But they're learning, and that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, and I actually wanted to ask about that. It's like you've played a very tough schedule.
Very.
And so with this inexperienced and young team that you have, how have you tried to help them mentally, or with this mentality of, hey, yeah, you played a tough schedule, get better? How have you kind of managed that?
We talk about that all the time because, again, we want to play the teams that are going to explicit our errors and our weaknesses, because that's the only thing that we're going to get better at. If we go and play the, you know, weaker teams, the JV teams, it's not going to make us better because our conference isn't that way.
Right.
So our conference is just as strong. And so if we go and pad our record and go and play these other teams that maybe aren't as good, then we really aren't helping ourselves being successful and improving ourselves, because winning doesn't show what our weaknesses are. It just pads your record, in my opinion. So I don't believe in playing the teams that are going to just make our record look good, because in the long run, then you get to the regional tournament, you see these teams that we're playing, and you panic, and it's no good.
And do you feel like your team is doing a good job responding to this? Like, yes, they've got a tough schedule. Do you feel like, hey, we want to improve? Do you see that passion yet?
I do. I still have, you know, we still have team meetings, and you still hear them in the locker room after a loss and saying, hey, we need to just do this better and this better. You know, we didn't do this very well. So, you know, when they talk about that, you can tell they're still there. It's when they kind of hang their head and be like, we lost again, or, you know, they get on the bus and, you know, they're right on their phones. I think that shows that, you know, it's whatever, you know, and they're not doing that right now. So, I think they're still in it. And again, you know, I know it's frustrating, but again, we got to learn.
Right. So you're telling me there's a chance?
Hey, there's always a chance of whoever you play. There's always a chance.
Got it. I love it. So I always like to end now with this question. So if we could wave our magic wand for this weekend if you could do one thing just amazingly, what would it be for this weekend?
I'm going to say there's 2 things.
Okay.
I really want to do is our energy, and then our serving. We're real good with energy level. If I do something good, I'm extremely happy. But our goal is that we want to be as a team and really show the energy and excitement for somebody else as well, because we don't do that very well.
I get it. Yeah. So it's like, oh, hey, someone else did something great. Hey, everyone gets excited. And so, I mean, that makes sense too. And that's really with volleyball too. It's all about momentum. And if you're not, even if you do make an error and you lose, like, oh, hey, we made a mistake, it's just going to spiral down.
Yeah, I mean, because we do. We make a mistake and we just kind of drop our head, and then our momentum just kind of really shifts. So we're really working on, if it was an aggressive mistake, hey, we're good. Everybody makes a mistake, as long as not, you know, if you're not given the effort and you make a mistake, that's something different. But if you're given the effort and it's solid, then we're still going to keep your chin up, and that's the biggest key.
All right, I love it. I'm feeling excited for the team.
We'll see.
Yeah, we're in a rough spot right now. We're learning, we're growing. Those growing pains.
Sure.
But I think you're right. I think we haven't quite hit that mountaintop yet. We're not playing
Definitely
our best
not.
volleyball, and so I think
The volcano hasn't erupted yet.
I love it. And hopefully it erupts at the right time, and hopefully we just see great things. So thank you, Coach, for coming in.
Thank
We're
you.
super excited, and as always, we're cheering for you.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tiber fans, and we'll see you next time.